The movie kicks off with a guy named Gawon. Even though he was married, he got into a top finance university and ended up topping the whole place on his own. Everyone was super happy for him. His buddy Chung and Chung's dad came by to celebrate and thanked Gawon for helping Chung ace his exams. Chung's dad even offered Gawon a job at his company, but Gawon turned it down, thinking he'd land a great job on his own merit. But that was just wishful thinking. He had no idea what was really coming. Even PhD grads were competing for jobs in this field. When he went to apply for a regular internship, there were over 400 applicants, most of them also PhDs. The hiring process wrapped up quickly, leaving the village with no job openings. He came back feeling pretty down. While looking for work, he got a call from a big bank, an international investment bank where even seasoned pros often get turned down. But Bluestone reached out to 𝐀𝐻 directly and hired him without even an interview. 𝐀𝐻 didn't feel anything was wrong. He was super happy, thinking he was the top guy. So only people like him should be called toppers. But the truth was, he got the job thanks to his friend's dad, who was a big client of Bluestone and owned his own energy company. At that company, 𝐀𝐻 was made the assistant to a guy named Jung and given 6 months to learn the ropes. But it turned out Jung was pretty rude. He didn't like 𝐀𝐻 because he had no experience, and also because he thought 𝐀𝐻 came from a small university. What could he really know? As soon as he gets there, he even prints out his rejection letter, telling him to find someone else to be his mentor. Poor 𝐀𝐻 just stands there quietly at first, then looks around the office. He spots a mistake in a formula Jane's been working on the screen. 𝐀𝐻 fixes it, and Jung, impressed, hires him as his assistant for a few months, on the condition that he learns fast and doesn't bug him too much. 𝐀𝐻 gets everything Jung says. Right then, Jung gets a call from a helicopter manufacturing company. They're planning to take their company public. The company was getting ready for an IPO and needed a report for helicopter buyers. Jung took 𝐀𝐻 straight to the helicopter factory, where they were given a warm welcome. The company wanted Jung to write the report while sitting inside the helicopter, but Jung wasn't comfortable with that. He was an honest guy and told the officer he wanted to check every spare part of the helicopter first before writing the report. Because of his request, a team of engineers showed up and he took apart every part of the helicopter for him. Jung then found out the helicopter was in bad shape. A lot of the spare parts were imported to cut costs, which ended up lowering the helicopter's quality. He refused to put the helicopter company on the list, but the manager was just as determined to get his company listed. So Jung slashed their company's valuation in half, making everyone reluctantly sign the contract. After that, they left, and we see Jung start teaching 𝐀𝐻 about his company and how it operates. He explains how small companies get listed within a big international bank, so people can put their money in there. They can invest their cash, which then goes into the business, benefiting not just the company, but also the stock market and the investors. Jang mentions that Bluestone was the oldest company to go public. Almost every company Jang has listed so far has made a profit. 𝐁 also starts working there with full commitment, putting in extra hours to learn as much as he can. While working there, he discovers a lot of new things. He hadn't learned or studied it before. Chand was already impressed, and seeing his interest, he grew even fonder of 𝐀𝐻 and made sure to clear up every single one of his doubts, even if it meant giving up his own time. Wherever Jung went for a deal, he took 𝐀𝐻 along. This gave 𝐀𝐻 a chance to see how companies work from the inside, and he picked up a lot about their transactions. After months of hard work, Jung finally gave 𝐀𝐻 his own project. He had to analyze all the data of a pharmaceutical company, so it could get ready for an IPO. 𝐀𝐻 carefully puts together the pharmaceutical company's financial report, gathering info from all over and analyzing it step by step. Finally, the big day comes when the company is supposed to go public. As talks start with the owner, it quickly becomes clear he's super shrewd. He wants to list his company not just locally, but internationally, and also keep its value high here at Bluestone. Because of that, he ends up rejecting Gahan's financial report, saying, "We'll handle the financial report ourselves. You just sign it." Chang, who always sticks to his principles, cancels the whole deal and walks away, even though it would have been a big boost for his career. Gahan gets back to the office late at night, feeling really let down. He wonders why Young did that. If Young had listened, Gahan could have landed the job. Then the janitor says, "You probably don't know Young. He's a really honest guy." Apparently, people around here, I'm not a fan of Young, but everyone buys shares in the IPOs he launches because his analysis is always spot on. He sticks to his principles. That's why people often make big profits by holding on to the shares for a long time. Gahan felt he had to handle things on his own since Young wouldn't give him another deal. He checked out several big companies with upcoming IPOs. He found a dog food company, did all his research, went out, and bought their products. Then he put together a solid financial report, and then he called the company's CEO. When Gahan reached out to her directly, the girl was impressed and invited him to a meeting. Excited, Gahan went to Young and told him how hard he'd worked to land the deal and how he'd changed his approach. Young liked it too. He reviewed Gahan's report and work, spotted all the mistakes, and fixed everything. Together, they went to talk to the company's CEO. Right from that first meeting, both Gahan and Young realized the woman isn't interested in the deal and doesn't seem to care much about Young, which makes Young laugh. She even invites Gahan over to her place to talk about the IPO in more detail. In the car, Young tells Gahan, "If you don't want to go, then don't." But since this was the first project Gahan landed on his own, he wanted to give it a shot. When they get back home, the CEO treats Gahan really well and then, finding different excuses, tries to get closer to him. When Gahan says no, and as they kept talking about the IPO, the woman got mad and said, "I'll only give you this contract if you eat my dog's food," right out of his bowl. Gahan was offended, but didn't back down. He was set on making the project happen. After he ate all the dog food, the woman finally signed the contract. Gahan happily brought it to Young the next day, but Young realized it was just a verbal agreement, basically worthless. He told Gahan they needed to get a written contract signed by the woman first. She changed her mind. They went to her company to see her, but the CEO wouldn't meet them. It turned out the CEO had been messing with Gahan. Using the financial reports she prepared, she reached out to another company and got her IPO listed. This trick left Gahan crushed, but Young tells her that something good is coming her way. Then, shortly after, there's a meeting with all the company's general managers. Lee, the head of the company, is asking them to sign a new contract. She wanted to approve any investment up to $500 million, not just $100 million, without needing any general manager's signature or approval. All the general managers, eager to stay in their boss's good graces, went along and signed it. But Young refused. He shot down the proposal right in front of everyone and walked out, leaving Lee fuming. Furious, Lee called Gahan over and tempted him with a permanent senior manager position, saying, "If you can trick Young into signing the company's file, I'll give you a cut of the profits from the company's shares, enough to buy you a house." Gahan, who comes from a really small family and has been renting all his life, gets greedy. Even though he's an honest guy like Young, he agrees to Lee's offer because of his own struggles. As soon as Young shows up, he's furious and calls him out. "Don't you know how rotten Lee is? He's pulled a huge scam with those documents, and the company he's about to take public hasn't hired a single technician in years, only workers. That means their products. It's going to be totally flawed, technically. Gawahan is then asked to dig into their technical problems and put together a report. He keeps working hard, and for a while, it seems like the greed Lee put in him has disappeared. He's really putting in the effort. He goes into the factory to check for technical issues, even keeps an eye on what's coming in and out, and finds plenty of proof against the company. When Gawahan shows the report to Jung, Jung is even more impressed and quickly signs off on the preliminary report, promising to make his job permanent when he gets back to Europe. Gawahan asks, "What are the chances my job becomes permanent?" Jung answers, "Over 80%. Right then, Gawahan thinks about Lee. Lee had promised 100%. Now greed kicks in, and here's the twist. We find out Gawahan had grabbed signatures on a financial report for another company, along with the main report. Taking advantage of Jung's trust, he takes the file and goes to Lee. He shows him the file and hands him another one. File. The contract was a permanent job contract. He used a rule Jung taught him against him, saying, "Verbal agreements don't count. You have to sign this contract for my job first. Only then will I give you Jung's signed papers." So, according to the contract, Lee took Gahan to SA Company that day. Gahan had already looked into the irregularities himself, and Lee had gotten Jung's signature on the company's report. Just as Lee and Gahan were about to sign the contract, Gahan lays another file in front of the company owner, filled with all the company's screw-ups. This file has every fraud he uncovered himself. Seeing it, the owner is completely shocked, thinking the deal's dead. But then, Gahan shows his even sneakier, greedier side. He says, "We've already cooked the report. We'll sign, but only if you give us more shares and transfer 5% just to me." The company agrees. The deal's finally signed. Gahan now owns 5% of the company's shares, and he got them for free. When Lee gets back to the office, he announces Gahan's promotion and permanent role, and everyone throws a party. Jung is crushed when he finds out 𝐸 betrayed him, so he decides to start his own company. Before leaving, he gives his student Gahan a painting that says, "A man can be broken, but he can't be defeated." Now, Gahan works as a Bluestone instructor. He couldn't work with them because Bluestone had used his name to trick him. A few days later, we find out that Lee had become president of Bluestone, and Gawahan was promoted to senior general manager. Lee often brought Gawahan to meetings where she could benefit personally. Meanwhile, Jung started her own financial consulting firm, and it was doing great. Lee was handling the IPO launch of a company called Jiang Energy and handed it over to Gawahan, who was connected to Gawahan's friend's dad. She wanted to use Gawahan's friend to her advantage, trust him, and trick him into a clever plan Gawahan never thought could happen. The next day, Gawahan showed up, and Jung's dad greeted him warmly. He started talking about his company, which is an energy business working on a material that will save a lot of energy. This will help regular folks and small factories break free from the grip of big international companies that charge crazy high prices for electricity, and it'll bring energy costs way down. Hearing this, Gawahan says, "This is going to take a lot of money. The cash from your first IPO won't cut it. I think you should do more IPOs to raise as much as possible." Up until then, he was totally innocent, no sneaky motives. But Lee was the one actually pulling the strings. Through Tohan, she tells Jung to transfer some of her company's shares to Bluestock, promising their company will turn a profit for 2 years. In return, Bluestock will launch 2 more IPOs, letting them make 2 energy sources instead of just 1. 𝐀 thought it over for a bit, then signed the deal. Meanwhile, Obli, working through one of her managers, pulled a different move. She reached out to a competitor of Jiang Company, and bought shares there. Even though this company wasn't making much money, Blue Stock now owned part of Jiang Company and had all of Jiang Company's personal documents. They told this small company they'd keep them in the loop about any research Jiang did or commissioned for power production materials. By making that power material themselves, they'd soon be as strong as Jiang. On one hand, they pulled this stunt, but on the other, they played an even dirtier move. They took over the material company Jiang used to get supplies from. While buying shares in that company, Blue Stock set a condition that the materials would stop going to Jiang Company and instead be supplied to a smaller rival. Because of this, Jiang Company, after Jiang Company's IPO, the stock price shot up, then suddenly crashed. And Jung noticed. Everyone who bought shares hoping to make a profit ended up losing money. Amid all this, these people caused Gao-han to have an accident, and he ended up in the hospital. He didn't realize the huge harm he'd done to his friend and his dad. Just as Jiang Company's shares dropped, Li pulled another move. She bought an extra 4% of the shares, pushing the stock price even lower. Her plan was to completely destroy Jiang so she could take control of over half the company, and then run it herself. Now, reluctantly, Jung has no choice but to accept all the Bluestone's terms. He falls for Lil's trick under Bluestone's orders, which causes a huge blow to his business. The pain from this loss gives him a heart attack. When Gao-han ends up in the hospital, he's completely stunned by the news. Once he realizes just how deep the deception goes, he rushes to T's office and confronts him. "I get it. You just wanted Jiang Company's technical report. That's why you cooked up this sneaky plan and then destroyed their company. Because of that, I'm done working with you," Libby mocks him. "What kind of gentleman are you? You backed me at first just to boost your own career and secure your job. Then you stabbed your own mentor in the back." She holds up the mirror and says, "I'm not going to have anything to do with you. You were the fool. You didn't realize what I was up to. And now, because of you, your friend's dad, the one who got you the job, is facing death." Hearing this, Gao-han feels even more crushed, since he always thought he landed the job because of his own skills. When he realizes he betrayed the very person who helped him get there, he rushes to fix things. But it's too late. The gangs are dead, and Chan is furious at Gao-han, knowing he's the reason for all this. He beats Gao-han badly and kicks him out. Even though Chang's actions hurt him deeply, Gao-han can't say a word. He knows it's all on him. To make things right, he goes to Jung, who's furious and doesn't even want to see him. He apologizes and says, "Please, if you don't help me, Jiang Company, and all the small investors tied to Jiang, whose money is stuck there, will all be ruined." For their sake, Parjong decides to trust Gao-han. Later, Gao-han visits his friend and apologizes, saying, "I admit that what happened to your company and family was because I betrayed you. But believe me, I never meant to. Li betrayed me. My only mistake was trusting him and bringing all those proposals to Uncle. But trust me, I want to make things right and get your company back from Li." So, Jung and Gao-han come up with a bold plan. Pretending to be a securities company, they buy up a bunch of Jiang Company shares and start driving the price up. On the surface, it looks like a legit securities firm snapping up the shares. But really, it's all a scam. The shares are being bought by top Jiang professional market players, operators. Li didn't get what was going on. She'd reached out to Jian's rival company, pretending to be Bluestone, and promised to take down Jiang. If she hadn't gotten full control of Jian, she would have been screwed twice over. To hide this, she came up with another plan, buying Jian's shares herself, hoping to dump them all at once and tank CN again. But Jiang saw through her trick and threw in even more cash to buy Jiang's shares, driving the market even higher. After that, Jiang's shares were frozen for 2 days, so nobody could buy them. Li was totally clueless. During those 2 days, Most of the shares in Xiang Company were transferred to Jiang's son's name, which seriously messed up Li's deal with the other company. Meanwhile, Xiang's son, Zhang and Zhang, cooked up another scheme. They started a new company that was just like Xiang's and snagged all of Xiang's top engineers and senior staff by offering better pay and perks. This new company was needed because Xiang already owned a big chunk of shares. This new company would be a legit one, with Zhang holding on to all the shares. 2 days later, when the market opened, Zhang started playing his real game. He suddenly sold off all the shares he had bought and drove the price way up. This caused huge losses for Bluestone, almost pushing the company to the brink of bankruptcy. Since Li was behind all this, Bluestone ended up firing him. Such a massive market manipulation couldn't go unnoticed. Chan's company had definitely bounced back by then. But now Chang is punished for market manipulation, and his company is banned from going public for 2 years. This wasn't a setback for him, but more of a chance to get things steady. Li takes it in stride and gets a 1-year sentence. Gohan and Yung, who stood by Chang, each get 6 months. Li also gets 7 years for fraud and is banned from the market. Later on, we see Jung and Gohan back together, now working at Jung's consulting firm, which focuses on helping everyday people. She used to do this, and the movie ends with both of them together at this company.